Hey everyone, Maury Dunbar here back at Painted Studio. It is cold, we're expecting a snowstorm tomorrow. So what are we doing? We're working on more boxes. Now we have several boxes that we're working on today. I started a pink one yesterday. We also started this one again. These were satin boxes with cardboard that I put the epoxy over to make them more durable so that I could paint and do whatever to them. And this is how this one came out. If you remember yesterday's, it looked much lighter cream before I started. And one of the things that happened with this, once the epoxy penetrated, is little spots started coming out. Now I assume that's some of the dye or something from the cardboard and made that happen, because it's not on the surface, it's actually in the fibers. So we're gonna work on different ones to get going. Now I also have this little guy that I had picked up in the thrift store. This one's made in Poland, and I have another plan for this one. This one's gonna get gilded. I did seal up the inside and the bottom with shellac because they were porous and I didn't want to have issues of anywhere that I wanted to apply leaf having a problem. We're going to paint that with set coat black. We have the pink one down on the floor that we're going to foil, and we have one other box to show you. Now, trigger warning here. If this is something that's going to upset you, if cremation containers are disturbing to you, please step away from this video now. A friend of mine was in the business of custom painted cremains containers. She's closed her business and she's given me quite a load of these. Now, you can, I did my mother's urn when she passed away, and it was a very important and special thing for me to be able to do that. It helped me deal with my grief. However, these boxes are really beautiful and they're very well made, and quite frankly, if you don't want to use them for cremains, they come with, they're originally screwed closed because that's what's required to do this and put the ashes in the container. But they also come with small wooden sticks that can be used to cover the screw holes, or you can fill the screw holes, and instead of having a container that is screwed shut, you can just maintain this as a working box. Now I have a couple of these. I will put them on my website, but again, I did not want to be doing something that might upset people, but this is a very common fact of life. These are made out of bamboo. They're beautifully made, really nicely finished. They're beautiful as they are, or they can be painted, foiled, gilded, whatever, and used for their original purposes. Quite frankly, as you saw, it's a very simple box, so it does not have to be used for the ashes of a loved one. But if that's something you're going through, and as a creative person you want to do something special, I will have these on my website later today. They will be in a separate category from everything else, including paintable surfaces, out of respect for what they are, and you can determine how you want to use the boxes. All right, everybody, let's get into something a little more lighthearted. And by the way, the friend of mine that used to do this made the most beautiful things. She really, really, really did. She made them special, unique, personality of the person. It was something really special. And she left the business for reasons that are hers to explain, but it's completely understandable. She needed to walk away from it. And she happens to have a lot of these, so if I run out, I can always get more from her. So now we're gonna flip this camera down, and I'm also gonna open up my Facebook page so that I can see what's going on. And let me get myself on this live. Okay, here we go. And then I've got it posted so I can see comments. Now the first thing I'm going to do in here on the cardboard, yeah, there's some bubbles and stuff. It didn't dry perfectly even because I had it hanging like this. Now, if you want to have this dry perfectly level and flawless, which is not something I necessarily require, you can do this part, lay it flat. Then do this part, lay it flat. Do this part, lay it flat. I was just sealing up my cardboard, and quite frankly, I'm probably going to cover this with a paper so that any flaws in it will not show. We're just going to give a little sanding here just so that I break the tooth. Give it a little tooth, break the gloss here. I'm not worrying about the bottom of it. Want to do this while it's still in its first 24 hours of curing. That just makes it easier to do it. Now, I'm not going to worry about anything else on there. We're going to come in and we're going to paint this because, again, I plan to foil this. And you can see, if you look at me, I can still push into this there. So there's still that quilted feel to it. But I just needed it all to be sealed up so that when I put things like water-based paint, like I'm about to on here, it doesn't create an issue of warping the cardboard inside. So this is C. Roberson's liquid metal in classic gold, and look at how beautifully that applies on here. And I'm choosing this color because whatever foil I choose to put over here, I want to know I have a beautiful gold finish underneath it. And as we showed yesterday with our little wooden hearts, especially if you're using a translucent foil, your undercolor matters. This was the vibrant pink. And that was our Sandrina foil, which is bright and colorful, but you put it over something like this pink and it tones it down. And this was our, what the heck is it, Andressa foil over bright red, and look at how rich and dark and moody that looks. So you can have all kinds of effects when you put both regular solid foils and translucent foils over a different colored base. Some foils just do not read well with a light color like this gold under here, even though they look solid when you apply them. You'll see, especially with a surface that has texture like this does, there will be cracks and flaws in the surface application. And so the undercolor will show through. And even on the smoothest, most flawless surface, this happens. So you definitely want to make sure that your underneath color, your base color, is something you take into consideration. Now, I'm going to do this way first. I want to get the base done before I get here because I don't want that lid to flop down and stick. So I'm going to come here. And this was not brown like this before. If you look at that edge, it's dark brown. You know what that is? That's the cardboard color, kind of whatever dyes in the cardboard penetrated the fabric and the two-part epoxy that's applied on here, our art resin, and it changed the color because originally it was just the same color as the fabric. And that's, you know, that's part of the reason we're painting this instead of just putting foil adhesive right over it. I want a consistent color all the way around and underneath. So let's do this. I'm going to let that one doesn't close all the way at this very moment because I just put my hands on it to kind of bend it back a little extra. So we're going to get this whole thing coated with our beautiful classic gold Roberson's liquid metal. And first of all, that color, freaking gorgeous. This alone would make a great look. And I know you're asking, why am I painting satin boxes? Well, I wanted to try it. I found these in a vintage shop while I was out thrift shopping last week. And I don't love the look of the satin on its own. I think it's a little dated. Well, kind of a lot dated. It's very, very 1950s, 1960s, your mother's bedroom look. And also, it's not terribly durable. Anybody who knows me knows things that I need to make things something that will wear hard, wear well. And I wanted to make that happen as well. Because I don't know what I'm going to put in here, but you know, for all I know, I may decide I'm going to put paint in here. All right, let's get all of this. And whatever the thing is that I do with it, I want it to wear well. I mean, if I put, you know, pieces of silver, or if I put jewelry in here, I don't want this to be something that falls apart in 6 months. I want this to be something that has a little more durability. And by epoxy coating it, I gave it that. I'm just getting every last bit of fabric covered. Oh, my nose itches. And no, I'm not doing this. I know I did that on the other one, but that was because the whole thing was fabric lined. This is cardboard lined, and just doing the sanding on it is enough for me. So that one is done. I'm going to set it down on another space so this can dry. Come on, stay over, stay open. All right. Okay, we're going to take our little wooden box that I have already put some shellac on simply to seal up the open wood. And we're going to paint this whole thing black. Now, I'm down to the last of my black in this container, so I'm going to have to spritz a little water in here. There we go. Now I'm using a brush. It's probably the least productive size, except that I'm going to have to get into little corners. Let's get this stirred in a little bit with the water. I need a little more. It's going to be time to get a new container. Pour some more into a container. But I use up every last bit that I can because I hate wasting stuff. And yes, I should have used a stir stick, not my brush, but, you know, too late. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, let's paint. I'm trying to think of which way I want to do this. So I'm going to paint the inside. And this is just applying so beautifully. You know, set coat is just such a joy to work with. It applies super smooth. Even when, you know, I'm working with an old container. Because I do small projects, my jars get kind of goopy and messy, and this is still lovely, lovely to work with. It spreads beautifully. The coverage is excellent. And I always spritz my jars with distilled water so it doesn't grow any funky stuff, because regular tap water, it all has microbes and stuff in it that can make your paint get mold and stuff growing on it. If you use distilled water, that doesn't happen. So, okay, let's do this. And even though I don't mind the feeling of wet paint, paint on my hands. It's a little distracting when I'm trying to work on stuff. So let me get the paint off the brush so I can grip it better. Now, I'm careful with my application because I want it to go on really nicely. However, it does not have to be flawless. Not here anyway. It doesn't have to be 100% opaque. First of all, I can always sand it lightly and come in and put on a second coat, but since I know what I'm doing to this, that's not really necessary. This is going to be gilded, so I just want to smooth back, a smooth, even coat of black underneath everything. Now I can apply my Whitson's gesso if I want, and then burnish it and give it a different texture, but this is a really carved surface, so I'm not going to do that. This is, inside I have velvet, adhesive back velvet liner, so I'm going to put that in here. So I do need the inside painted black just so that if I don't quite match my corners with the velvet and stuff, it doesn't show so much because there's already a black layer of paint underneath. Oops, I'm dropping things. Now, brush your paint with the grain for best results. Do not dab in the middle of stuff. Brush your whole edge. And if you have to come in from the middle at all, lift your brush up and drop it down in. Don't just plot your brush and leave a bristle mark. That is not going to be a great look. Okay. Make sure I got everything covered here. Now, I'm going to take this, and this is going to require me to kind of work it into the surface, so I like to kind of do a swirling pattern to fill this. Now this box, the little box came from Poland. It's not my style as it is, and it was like $3, so, and I saw the original price on it too, so it was never a very expensive item. I took the time to clean off the old stickers from the bottom of the price tags. All of that stuff has been cleaned off. You definitely want to take a minute to do that. Sand it down, seal it up so that you don't have anything weird bleeding in any strange ways. Now I'm not painting the bottom for a very specific reason. The box was made in Poland and I want that made in Poland label to stay on there. If I get any paint on it, it's already been shellacked, so I can just sand it down lightly, uncover it, and then re-shellac it. Now, I have done all the sides. Make sure I give a quick swipe here since I put it on that end. I don't want to have any funny imprint marks on there. And let's get over here. And of course, if you have any questions about what I'm doing or why, don't hesitate to ask. If you see this after I've been live, just leave it in the comments. I get back to everybody. Okay, let's get the back here. this side. I will probably have missed a spot or two by the time I'm done. That happens. That's why you go and check second coats. I'm okay with that. Now, if I needed this bottom to be actually perfect, I would have taped it off. I don't, so I didn't. Okay, now I'm getting the lid. Again, you can see me swirling the paint in because this lid, let me turn it around here. The lid here is carved, and we want to get the paint worked into all of the details. And then I'll go back and forth and smooth my brush strokes. Okay, see, there we go. All smoothed out. And that's why I picked this little brush, because I knew I was going to have to work it a little bit. And then I'm just going to lift it up this way so I can get this front edge here. All right, and I'm going to set this off to the side so that it can dry. I missed some spots. I'll have to go back and get that, that's for sure. It's funny how you change the light on something and you can see where you've missed. That's always important to know. All right, let me get my hands a little wet so I can wipe the black off of here so it doesn't transfer to my foil adhesive surface. Set coat bonds super hard, but when it's wet, it's really easy to wash off your hands. Let's move those parts so I can get this out of the way so I don't get anything on the foil adhesive that I don't want on there. So a little sec just to clean myself off here. What doesn't come off doing this comes off in the shower. I have yet to go to bed with stuff on my fingers other than foil adhesive. Everything else comes off pretty well. Maybe I should have done the foil adhesive, the paint, the black paint last, but I didn't. Oh well. Okay, cleaned off enough. Touch this. Okay, so here is our pink box. And as you recall, I put the foil adhesive on the outside. I didn't put anything on the inside, so we're going to work on the outside. Now, originally, I thought I was going to use the Andressa, but I still am not 100% with where I want this to be showing through. So we're going to use our Hollis glitter, and I thought that would be much, much, much more fun. So we're going to start and see how this releases, and I have no idea. So this could be great, it could be bad. I can always work with that. I can find ways to make it better, either put some mica powder on stuff, or some glitter, or something else to make it all work. So, I'm gonna take some of this foil, I'm gonna wrap it on this edge here. Going to smooth it with my fingers. Now at the moment, until I get this first piece of foil on, I can't really flip this around because I don't want to stick it on a sticky spot. So we're going to take our little toothbrush, our super stiff one where I cut the bristles down. I'm going to give this a scrub here. I'm going to give this a scrub over this entire surface. Now understand, I don't expect this to be a flawless release because there is texture and there is stitching and there's a quilted pattern on here. So I absolutely expect some spots that don't release well. That's part of what I've planned for in my head. So I'm hoping this comes out well, but I have no idea what my final result is going to be, because I've never done this. Well, it looks like it's releasing pretty well so far. Let me get over here. Now, this has had a good 24 hours to dry, so we should be okay getting it released. Oh, yeah. Weird surfaces can be ultra sticky when you're doing stuff. Don't be afraid of it. But I got plenty of pattern off, and here is how it looks. I am pleased as punch that came out so well. Yeah, it's still sticky. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some other stuff to seal it up, but I figured that anyway. I wasn't sure what kind of release I was going to get on this surface, and I can't tell you how happy I am that it came out this well. All right, let's cut another piece. I need to get a better scissors than the glue-coated ones. Let's try this pair. They look the same, but one cuts and one doesn't. There we go. All right, so let's take... We're going to take it on this side since I've already foiled on the other. And this way you should be everything's sliding around because it's sticky. Let's move this forward a little bit. Okay, we're going to take, again, our Hollis glitter. We're going to lay it down on here. We're going to wrap it around the front and the sides. We're going to come over the top edge. I'm going to have a little bit of sticking to the lid. That's not a big deal. Let's leave this up here because that's not getting into the pleat, the fold. Let's go. Here we go. Again, take your time and scrub. Really scrub. Again, this is a textured surface. It's got give to it. So you want to make sure you take the time to really work on your surfaces. And it worked very well on the other side, so I have no reason to believe it won't work well for me here. Getting a good release. Just take your time. Okay. Spot right there. There we go. And again, another really pretty release on there, so I'm really happy. Now, everything's falling all over the place. Now this is kind of gummy this way. I will tell you that. It could have probably sat, because I did use a lot of foil adhesive, it could have probably sat for another day or two before I applied it. But it's working just fine. So I have no complaints here. So I'm going to fold this around. Again, a little toothbrush, get on top of everything, and if it double releases, because this is still a little sticky. Again, we have texture, we have fibers, we have foil adhesive. If it releases a little extra in spots, that's okay. Come back and do this, just so I can get a better purchase on it. And yes, I could use any of my other scrub brushes too. It's just I'm using this little one, A, because it was right there, and B, because I have these little edges to contend with. And the little brush is definitely easier to get into the small edges. Oh, so pretty. So, so pretty. Oh, I'm loving how this is coming out. Now, I don't know if I missed any spots back here, so we're going to come back here. Just want to make sure I get any spot that's actually a little sticky, so it's not forgotten. Little spots are there. And of course, this will all be sealed up on top of everything. So it's not just the foil, because this is going to have sticky texture in spot any place that the foil did not grab. So I'm just kind of coming back, feeling for anything that might need a little extra foil released on it. Any place that feels a little sticky, like I might not have gotten a good release. It's not like you can hurt this. All right, so now, the spot I do have to get back there is that. Now the back is probably going to need a little attention because when it dried, the foil gummed up right in the hinge. And that's okay. I can deal with that. First thing I do is pull off any extra. Where's my glue-coated scissors? I take a little scissor and snip things that might need a little snipping. And if I have to later, I can recoat and reseal, and that will work just fine. And yes, I have done this before. Doing it with inexpensive scissors like this actually is easier than doing it with a knife. It's a little more controlled, a little less chaotic. All right, so let's get some more foil. I'm going to get this back area. Oops, I got foil wads, foil adhesive wads on me. And again, remember, we put this on while the paint was still a little too wet to do it properly too. So there is that little bit of area, issue to contend with as well. So I'm not surprised I had a funky spot. Again, if I was not doing it all on a live, I probably would have done the foil adhesive in sections. But to get things done the way they needed to be done for a live, sometimes I rush things and the results have issues, and I'm happy to share that with you so that we all learn together. Now this may pull off some stuff on the back, and that's okay. Oh, sticking to my fingers. And it actually was okay. Not flawless, but okay. Let's open that up. We're going to come around all the inside here so that I can do the top and not have this. And I will put a piece of parchment paper in between this area and this area just to make sure it doesn't stick. But I want to get my inner edges done as quickly as possible before I do the lid. The camera up just a little so you can see what I'm doing. I kind of weirded the angle. So we're going in again here because this all has foil adhesive here. And I'm going to take that. Since I have all of that here, sticking to me, which is not helpful. That's coming off really nicely. Let's get this inner corner here. I need a little more right down in there. Let's go right in there. Can't say that I work on the easiest surfaces on the face of God's green earth. We all know that if there's a hard way to do it, I'm going to pick it. So I'm going to check just to see. I knew one of these had more edge area for me to use. This is so pretty. Okay, now let me take a little piece of folded up parchment paper. I'm going to stick it in here because, again, just because I foiled it doesn't mean there aren't some sticky surfaces to deal with. Scissors. I pulled the glue scissors. Put the glue scissors away again so I don't keep trying to reach for them. All right, so here is our Hollis glitter. Is that what this is, Hollis glitter? Oh, good grief, yes it is. Here is our Hollis glitter all over this lid. Now where's my little toothbrush? Now, let's get a good scrub down. And like I said, I could use a bigger brush on this. I am using one that is probably too small for this surface, but I didn't feel like grabbing two brushes today. I just wanted to use one. So again, vertical and horizontal. Do not go in circles, because if you have anything that happens to show the pattern release, doing this could give you weird circular scrub marks. This always looks better, and trust me, I have done this on huge surfaces, not just smalls. I have done entire walls of foil. All right, let's pop this off. Oh, look how pretty that is. And it does not lose the beautiful quilted texture. And if you want to see how it released from the back, this is how it released. You got a lot of that And the black released the lightest, if you can see that from the front of here, and just sort of gave a little bit of a gray pattern on here, which is awfully, awfully pretty. Let me check to see if I can get it there. So, now, you can also, if you can see from the angles when I move the lid, that you didn't get a ton right in here into the seams. So the seams are much pinker, and I could leave it like this. I can use some of my purple glitter on here if I really want to go glitter crazy. But I'm kind of liking it like this. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. Do I want to put some gold glitter on here? Anybody watching might give me some suggestions, but I think I'm not going to put, I'm going to try the purple on the back to see how I like it. Yeah, I don't love it. It's just too purple. I think I'm going to go get some gold dust. Give me just a second. Everything out from around my feet. Let me go grab the gold dust. Okay, we're going to use some of our gold dust on here. The dust is beautifully bright, but it is smaller than glitter and larger than, mica powder. So let's come in here with this and give this a little, oh, that works nice. Now you can see I'm using a brush to get this on here because I don't want it to be too heavy, but this grabs into the crevices and kind of makes them pop. Oh, that's so pretty on there. I'm going to zoom in to see if maybe you can see this better. I'll pull this back a little bit so that might help. This is really super pretty, and it's very delicate on here. I knew that that purpley glitter, even though it looked great with the foil before it was released, I knew it was going to be a little too strong on here and not give the look that I wanted. Now, before I do anything with the inside, after I put this dust on, I'm going to seal the entire outside, because even if there's just a little bit of stickiness on here, even after I do this dust, it's just going to be a pain in the neck to work with, and I don't really want to deal with that. So I'm going to come in here, we're going to put the dust in here. It's grabbing on everything just beautifully, and I'm not worried about any of the dust in the inside of this. I'll sweep it out later. I've got all of this edge sealed up with that, but there's still going to be microfractures in here where this sticky stuff is going to show. So we're going to get this edge. So pretty on here. It just makes the stitching pop up and look like it was stitched with metal. It's so pretty. Let me grab some of this that I'm kind of knocking everywhere. Might as well use whatever I can if I've spilled it. If you can see on the back here, right in this little spot, I put some of the purple glitter and it's too harsh. It's too intense on there. So I'm not happy with that on there like that for this. It would work on a lot of things. It would actually work on this if this was for a kid, like in a little girl's room, but again, this is something I'm doing for myself, at least at the moment, unless somebody comes and sees it and says, I want that, give it to me. So I want this a little more subtle. Okay, so the whole thing, except for that one spot in the back, there we go, that seals that up too. It's amazing what you can do with a little glitter, a little sealant, a little this, a little that, to make things, suddenly anything that looked funky looks fabulous now. All right, so we're gonna close that up. I'm gonna open the screen up again a little bit more. I'm gonna have a sip of my iced tea. Just talking is thirsty work. Put that away. Let's get this piece of paper cleared off. Move my foil out of the way, and then we're going to seal this. Emptied out. All right, we're going to use Varnish Plus to seal the outside of this. Little sticky glue wads that I cut off stuck to the side. This is part of the reason I want to seal it. All right, let me get another brush. Okay, it's not really a brush I want. Here we go. We're going to use a golden Taklon brush. Again, we're going to use Varnish Plus gloss. I could use satin, but gloss is what I had on hand. Not terribly concerned about the shine level. So satin or gloss would be just fine for this. And just like I did with the epoxy, I'm going to turn this and have this dry in a specific way. Let me rethink that. I'm going to take my alcohol bottle. I'm going to put that in there like that. It'll hold the lid open so that I can get everything applied and dried. This came out so cute on the outside. Now I have to deal with what I'm going to do to the inside. I haven't decided yet. But right now, I want this part all sealed up so that there is no sticky surface on here. Let's come this way. Still have a little bit to apply over here. Again, I'm going to come back up here, make sure the insides here are all sealed up. Okay, so throw that closed. I know it's slid off out of screen there, out of the window for you all to see, but I am really happy with how this looks. I'm going to turn it around. Look at how pretty that lid is. Look at how pretty that is. Just, that's what I wanted instead of that plain satiny look. And now this lid is actually super durable because I have coated the fabric with epoxy and I've sealed up the foil, and we're gonna have, then I'm just gonna deal with whatever I'm gonna do on the inside. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I'm gonna foil it. I don't know if I'm going to apply paper inside. I'm still thinking about that. So let's flip the camera up, and you've got me. Open my window up here. So at this point, oops, it's aiming a little bit away from me. At this point, we've got a lot of stuff sitting around here drying. I will put foil adhesive on the other box. I'm going to probably put a second coat of black paint on my little wooden box because there's a lot of little details that I missed the first time around, because again, you have to turn these things. This is going to dry at least overnight, and then I'll figure out what I'm doing with the inside of the box. And meanwhile, everybody have a great afternoon. Now, we are expecting a snowstorm here, so I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow or not, but I hope to be. So I hope you all have a great afternoon, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Bye-bye.